I've sold more than 500,000 t-shirts and have done more than $6.5 million in Shopify sales over the last 4.5 years. Hi guys, my name is Meg Heckman and I am a print-on-demand Shopify brand owner. Over the last 4.5 years, I've been able to take 4 different brands and scale them to over $1 million in revenue in the first 12 months alone. Recently, I've been thinking a lot about things that I would have changed about my print-on-demand journey. And unfortunately, we can't change the past. Instead, we can just do better with these 7 pieces of advice that I would give to anybody thinking about starting in print-on-demand. If you're actually interested in getting started in print-on-demand, I highly recommend sticking around for all 7 pieces of advice, because the last 2 pieces of advice that are at the end of this video are 2 that I wish I was starting from day 1. They would have saved me tons of money and tons of time. So let's get into it. Entrepreneurship is made up of 3 different kind of days. 1/3 are really easy. They're the days where you feel empowered, you love what you're doing, your time is yours, you feel amazing. Another 1/3 of your days, they're fine. They feel just like normal days, may even feel like you're working like your normal 9-to-5 job. But it's the last 1/3 of days that are absolutely terrible. Those are the days where you wake up and you are just questioning why you're doing what you're doing, because it's absolutely not easy. You're typically all alone by yourself, and sometimes it's really hard just to find that motivation to get up and get going through your day. Entrepreneurship will absolutely not be rainbows and butterflies all the time. It will have its horrible days, and the key is to deal with it the best way that you can. And if you have that, you can absolutely make it. I'm sure you've heard it from a ton of other creators out there. Running a business is really hard, but businesses that you're passionate about won't make it any easier, but it will make it more enjoyable along the way. Which leads us into piece of advice number 2, and that is passion in business. I think everybody knows at this point that running a business is not easy. Point being, I've been running a business now for the last 4.5 years, and I do like print on demand. But as far as feeling the true fulfillment that I was looking for, it wasn't until I started adding in my school community and content and being able to feel like I'm actually helping others rather than just selling somebody a t-shirt. Finding your passion is absolutely important and will make those days that are really hard a lot easier to push through. But it's piece of advice number 3 that I think a lot of people miss in this space, and that's to look for the real veterans in the industry. Now, what do I mean by looking for veterans in the industry? I mean actually look at people who are running businesses as their job. Find people who are out there who are actually selling in print on demand or actually doing day trading and not just creating videos for people to click on. Make sure that you are taking the time to vet these creators. Their videos and their life may be flashy and attention grabbing, but are they actually walking the walk and actually teaching you about businesses that they are running? Or are they just talking the talk to get you to click on their videos? As a business owner, I look up to and watch Layla and Alex Hermosi's content. They are actual entrepreneurs that I want to be like, and I want to incorporate what they're teaching into my actual business. They're always business first, content later, and I couldn't feel more the same way. So the lesson to be learned here is that mentors will either lead you astray or guide you to the best possible path. But it's time to find who the legit ones are. Getting started in print on demand and in business is always difficult, but it can make it a lot easier if you're following the main points that a few mentors are giving you, rather than taking the opinions of 10 or 20 different people. Really narrow down the best possible way for you to attack your business. And this leads us to piece of advice number 4, and that's the start can and probably always make it feel difficult. In print on demand, it is harder to get your first 100 sales than it will be for you to get your 300th, 400th, 1,000th sale. And that's because there's a huge learning curve. When we are first starting out, we are trying to figure out the best possible way for us to truly get our feet wet. We may have never launched a store before, or we're just now playing around with Facebook ads. In fact, the first store that I ever ran was an absolute failure. Failure in the way that it made absolutely no money, but not a failure in all of the lessons that I learned along the way. So I may have lost money on that first store, But what I learned was the very basic steps of print on demand. And I learned how to set up a Shopify store. I learned how to set up a Facebook ad account. I learned how to handle customer service, and it was a total learning experience for me. So just because it's harder at the beginning doesn't mean that you should just never pursue it. One day you will wake up and there won't be any more time to do the things that you've always wanted. Do it now. And I think that quote is perfect for anybody who is debating on potentially starting a business. But if you're looking for a place to start, this brings us to piece of advice number 5, and that would be that your product is king. Now, what do I mean by your product is king? But your product is the most important part of your business. And I think a lot of people who are starting off just get extremely overwhelmed with everything that they need to be doing with a business or feel like they need to be doing with the business, that they actually put off one of the most important parts. And that's building a product that people want. So what does this mean with print on demand? Simply put, it means focusing on your designs. So I personally have been selling print on demand t-shirts and apparel for the last 4.5 years. So my product is the type of t-shirt that I'm selecting, the type of brand and voice that I'm giving my store, as well as the designs that I'm putting on every single t-shirt. If my designs suck, nobody's going to want to click on an ad and nobody's going to want to purchase it. So I have to be doing the work and figuring out what makes a good design in my niche a good design, because that's pretty much the basis of business. And running your business is going to be so much easier when you are making sure that your product is absolutely stellar. Having helped hundreds of people getting started in print on demand, we've noticed that a lot of people will get hung up on the ads, thinking that if they just tweaked their ad account a little bit more, or they tried something else, or made a new campaign, their ad account would magically start giving them the results that they're looking for. And unfortunately, the only way to get your ad account to truly do what you want it to do is to focus on the products and the designs that you're putting on your t-shirts. And that's a lesson that took me and my husband, Chris, a long time to learn. We would put products up there that we thought would sell, that we really liked. And we'd do the testing and realize nobody liked the product. And instead of looking at that as market research, going, okay, clearly I need to find something else to be selling to people in this niche, we just took it as there must be something wrong with the ad. We must need to try new creative. We must need to put a new copy or try to offer something else in our ads to make them work. When the reality of it was, I wasn't looking at what people were asking us for. I wasn't looking at the data from our ad account and seeing what was getting some clicks, and then going back to the drawing board and continuing to rework our product. The product that you're selling should be your top priority. There are always a lot of things that you need to pay attention to in running a business, but the most important part is your product. Our product should always be our top focus. But what should be our next focus when running a business? Which brings us to lesson number 6. And this is one of the most important lessons that I ever learned over the past 4.5 years. And that would be customer service. Customer service is definitely a number 2 to your product. And that's because you need to take care of your customer. If you're not taking care of your customer, then they're not going to want to come back and buy your really good product. I highly suggest that anybody who is getting started in print on demand or any other business, that they run their customer service for at least a few months. Typically, customer service is draining. People are not always the nicest, but you can learn so much from just a few customer service interactions. This also will help serve as a quality check on your way to feel how your business is really going. How are your customers responding when they receive their package? Do they love it? Do they hate it? Are there problems? Do the t-shirts not fit the way that we're saying they fit on the site? Do they not match your size chart? These are all important things that we can then put back into making our product and our business even better. I ran my customer service for at least 2 years until finally hiring it out, which is why I made this video, how I easily handle customer service issues with Printify, that you can check out right here. Personally, customer service was draining, but also absolutely amazing for me as a business owner. I was able to pick up on trends that I was noticing across the business with all different types of customers all over the country. And some of the biggest lessons that I learned was that it's not necessarily an issue with your product, it's more of an issue with the customer feeling like they're heard. Customers really just want somebody to actually respond to whatever issue that they're having. They want to feel like they're being heard by the business and know that they're going to be taken care of, which is why I've completely redone our entire customer service department. And it starts with actually reading the full message and not having any automated customer service emails go out. I think we all have been in the position where we're not happy with a product or we have an issue with it. We reach out to customer service and we automatically get hit with an email that says, "Thanks for reaching us. We'll be back to you in the next 72 hours. 72 hours, I have an issue with it right now. So we will actually read the full message, send a tailored message to the customer that lets them know, hey, we actually read your message. We hear you that there's an issue or that the size was wrong. We are absolutely here to take care of you and make sure that we fix whatever issue is going on." And that has not only saved sales, but also kept customers coming back because they know that we are absolutely going to make sure that we are taking care of the customer. But the most important thing that you'll learn from customers is finding mistakes that you've made along the way, and that's absolutely okay. It's part of the process, which leads us to piece of advice number 7, and the most important piece that you will ever learn in starting a business, and that would be that mistakes lead to learnings and eventually lessons. It is no mystery, if you are starting a business, you're inevitably going to make mistakes. I made hundreds, if not thousands of mistakes along the way. There's no handbook or SOP for running a business, and it's not an excuse to just do whatever you want. You still need to make an effort to make intelligent decisions. But even though we don't have all the answers, we shouldn't be afraid to be trying new things. Now, if I had all the answers, my journey would have been so much easier. But one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that no matter what issue I ran into or what problem I faced, I was able to overcome it. I was able to figure out an answer on my own. And I knew that just simply taking a step back and critically thinking through whatever problem it was, I was going to be okay. One of my favorite quotes from Henry Ford is that failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. And that's exactly how I felt after my first store. I had ran it for a few months, lost money. It was an absolute disaster. But I took all of the lessons that I learned along the way and was able to apply them to the next brand. Every other brand that I started after that, so much better. So you're never going to know unless you actually try. Don't let the fear of making a mistake keep you from taking the plunge. It's important to have the confidence to be okay with making mistakes and actually learning from them. It's when we make mistakes and just decide that we quit, that's when problems occur. I can go on and on about every lesson that I've learned since starting e-commerce and print on demand, but I find that these lessons are the best that I've learned along the way and can share with anybody who is trying to get started in print on demand. It's completely up to you if you follow them or want to ignore them, but if you're actually interested in being successful with print on demand, then you're going to want to check out this video where I give you the one skill that determines if you will be successful with print on demand or not.